Many blessings, everyone. My name is Verdelus. I'm an evolutionary shamanic astrologer, human design coach, and life coach as well. And I wanted to share with you a bit today about the unfolding of the stars these days. We're in some really powerful times, and especially what's coming in next week around relationships. I wanted to give some heads up. Plus, we do have a new moon this coming weekend, and we have a shift of planets, starting to move out of Gemini into Cancer. So we're at this sort of Gemini Cancer cusp right now, collectively. But the first thing I wanted to share with you today is, I wanted to, if you've been feeling um, more reactive this week, especially verbally, you're not alone. Mercury has entered this really powerful T square with the big transit of our lives, of our decade right now, which is the Uranus-Pluto square. Now, I'm going to continue to write about this and talk about this as most astrologers are. This is the most transformational and also transitional aspect of our lives. And it's a very rocky road that we can be on. And it can be savory and delicious and inventive and quite powerful, but it can also be a bit overwhelming and pretty chaotic. And what happens every year around this time, the weeks before the sun enters Cancer and the weeks after the sun enters Cancer, is that, so that's the summer solstice, is that this T square forms between Uranus, Pluto, and whatever planet is in that part of Cancer. See, Pluto's in Capricorn, and then we have Uranus in Aries, and they're forming this square. And any planet that moves into Cancer, again, always around this time of the year, is going to come in and oppose Pluto and square Uranus. And the T square is one of the most intense, challenging aspects in the sky. And usually the point in the middle of the T square, right, the end of the T, is something that we really tend to focus quite a bit on. But we really want to break down the T squares. And what we have active most strong this week is Mercury in this T square. And then next week, over the weekend, we start to feel this with Venus moving into this T square. And that's going to peak with Venus on June 14th. And the reason that this is significant is because any activation of the Uranus-Pluto square is bringing up, first of all, with Pluto, any of the unconscious or shadow material. Now, this material is also the same empowering information that can take us to a new level of understanding in our being. It can be quite a huge metaphysical revelation as well. This is actually an ideal time with Mercury opposite Pluto to really excavate our minds, what motivates our speech, and understand any unconscious patterns that dominate our speech. So where do we tell ourselves negative stories about ourselves? Where do we say I can't? Where are we blaming others and really coming out through the voice with that? We have to really watch with this cycle this week and next week that we're not projecting onto other people really strongly. And this could have a real negative repercussion, a sort of negative domino effect. We may also, with Mercury squaring Uranus, be more volatile in our reactions. Like, Uranus is sort of a wild firecracker energy. So we could see that we could be more instantly reactive. At the same time, Uranus in the high side represents where we can have, where we can open ourselves to a greater intuition, flashes of insights and epiphanies in our life. And so we actually have a great opportunity right now to study things that really can bring quite a bit amount of revelation to our life. At the same time, this could also feel quite like overwhelming busyness, and being pulled in many directions like taffy all at once. Being online, technology is a very Uranian thing, but that kind of online presence can also make us feel like we're scattering all of our energies. And it can actually bring quite a bit of anxiety, which is one of the shadows of Uranus. Um, so then what happens is over the weekend, still as Mercury is part of the square, Venus comes in. And now we're looking at the realm of relationships and our finance and our creativity. These are all going to go through the same initiations we just spoke of. So we want to ask a question really strongly. In our creative process, can we go deeper? Can we access part of our soul and really express it through our creative energy, our essence really coming through? And can we have some sort of original expression of our individual uniqueness, the eccentric self that Uranus represents? Financially, there may be some real sudden opportunities for us if we can really go with the flow, trust our intuition, shift the paradigms a bit, and really this is to say that our creativity is fundamental to how we move forward with earning more resources. And we may use things like technology, online connecting and networking to make that happen. We're also looking at how we can empower each other a lot. That's the high side of Venus and Pluto. But the low side or the shadow is in relationships. We look at power struggles, control issues, shadows that are playing out and trying to dominate us. And this is really interesting because this same week, because we have these planets, Mercury and Venus in Cancer, they're at the early degrees of Cancer, and they link up in this beautiful grand trine. And grand trine is a very different energy than a T-square. The T-square is tense, dynamic, frictional, usually brings challenge. The grand trine is a flowing, graceful, friendly energy, and is very supportive between the planets that are involved. So actually this week, we've had this Mercury, Neptune in Pisces, Saturn in Scorpio, grand trine. So grand water trine. Now, this is really a quite empathic energy we can be feeling because of the water element. It can open up our sensitivities really strongly, and of course that could be sometimes overwhelming, but because of the trine, this could make us much more compassionate. It can open up our imagination incredibly strongly. We can really be downloaded quite a bit with the Neptunian visions, the imagination, the realms of the spirit world, and have a way with Saturn to actually manifest it into form that can be quite empowering and influential for others because of the Saturn and Scorpio presence. And so what we're communicating could actually come through in a real compassionate way if we can open up our throat chakras to more empathy and sensitivity. And the same thing will happen this next week with Venus. Venus trining Neptune and Saturn. So, and Venus in Cancer, that's a very soft energy for the goddess. It's really a homey energy, making good food, having potlucks with our community, being really nurturing, nestling in, and looking deeply at our security issues in relationship. They may come up with this, even with this trine, definitely with the T-square. And so one of the questions to ask is, in this process, as we're trying to individuate with Uranus and be empowered through a collective process, and then create this visionary potential for actual tangible manifestation, there's a lot of forces all at play, and we really want to ask, is my search for my quest for my individual self, is that separating me from others, or is it reuniting me with the soul of others? And so am I choosing to return to my source, to really feel myself reuniting to the all that is, to the creator inside of me, or is that urge to separate? And this is a really powerful journey our souls are on right now, because a lot of us are really attracting in soulmate connections, karma mate connections that we're really completing journeys with in our soul. We're finishing off storylines, we're resolving issues and resolving and healing wounds, which all could be coming up these couple weeks really strongly with these transits. And And the question we have to ask is, what is our work to do with this person or this group of people at this time? How can we serve their evolution to the highest potential? How can we be served by this group or this person? And really getting our egos out of the way. But we can see that there will be resistances coming up. And those resistances are coming up, and these people are coming into our life to show us where we're still choosing to separate and not return to our source. We really have to look at everything in our life right now as a great mirror for our soul's process. And really the question is, how are we doing if we're evaluating ourselves in relationship to everything else in our life at this time? Not just a beloved that we're sharing with, or our mother or father, which issues could come up, again, because we're dealing with Cancer, the sign of parents and family. But how are we dealing with our relationship to our creativity, to our financial world, to technology itself? Are we immersed? Are we overwhelmed? What about our relationship to nature, to the garden, to food, right? Again, Cancer, the nurturing quality that food brings. To sleep, to rest, right? Going within, to our spiritual process. So we're actually in relationship to all these various areas of life. And it's a really important time to evaluate where we're at with those relationships and how we're communicating to those people or those situations, and continuing to build the relationship or destroy it through our speech and how we're communicating. Our relationship is often reflected through how we're speaking about what's happening in our life. So it's a great time to do the deeper work right now with our partners, our significant others, and those in our community, and feel inspired by that process. So lots to share there, and thanks for taking the time to listen. We do have a new moon in Gemini on Saturday at the 18th degree of Gemini. It's a loose conjunction to Jupiter, so we will feel a potential of feeling quite expansive. Jupiter could be taking on too much always in its shadow, but usually a new moon conjunct Jupiter can feel like a very inspiring energy, especially with certain information or networks that we're a part of at this time with Gemini. But again, the week of the balsamic moon that we're in right now often feels like a more dead time of the month. Not that we're not super busy, but we really do benefit from going within. It's a good time to do healing work, to really connect with our souls, to shed and prepare for a new cycle that begins this Saturday with the new moon. So this is what I wanted to share today. We'll keep releasing some videos as this energy continues to unfold this summer. Lots coming up, a Mercury retrograde starting June 27th. Jupiter is about to move into Cancer. I'm going to have a teleclass coming up about some of these cycles, and I hope you'll be a part of it. So really want to thank you again. Definitely check out soulalchemyastrology.com if you'd like to do a reading of any kind. And also mixcloud.com, Verdelus, soundcloud.com, Verdelus, for some music, DJing, and some original pieces. So I hope you guys take care. Have a beautiful beginning to the summer here, and let the stars guide your way. I hope.